shirt, it's Chun Soo-yu. She's the 21st seed in this tournament. She's 24 years old, 6 years younger than Feng Tianwei. And as a child, her favorite player was Feng Tianwei. So this is a fascinating story right here. This will be the 6th encounter of ITTF World Tour events. There's coach Lin Chia-hui coming from Taiwan, coaching the player. Chun Soo-yu. Now, Chun Soo-yu had a chance to talk to a lot yesterday on the bus ride home. She has a 21-year-old brother. She's the only player in her family. Neither parent is a player. So, as far as the players, and just to let you know about the umpires, our head umpire you saw on screen a moment ago, Yang Soo-ki from Korea, and assistant umpire Kim Kyung-hee, also from Korea. So it was Chun Soo-yu who started playing at 9 years old, and she called herself a bit of a misbehavior child, just had way too much energy. Parents didn't know what to do with the energy. And so, yeah, they said, why don't you play some table tennis?
That's what usually happens.
Yeah, I'll tell you more about that in a bit. Head-to-head, Feng Tianwei has never lost to Chun Soo-yu. Shots like that are a good reason why. You know, actually, last time they played Asian Championships last week, Chun Soo-yu, 14-12 in the 5th. So it's a best of 5 she lost. Chun Soo-yu lost 12-14 in game 5. So that means she's getting closer and closer despite head-to-head, losing all 5 of their encounters before that, so now 6.
Well, this is a different competition, but after last week's results, definitely interesting to watch.
You never know what will happen out here. We've seen a lot of power and a lot of grace on Chun's side. Strong counter on the forehand, but Feng Tianwei right on top of the table, always there. Now, Feng Tianwei is one of very few players in the world outside of Miu Hirano right now who's shown that she can beat the top Chinese players. And her ability to be in the right place at the right time, her short strokes, her angles, consistency on top of the table. Look at this surprise. Would have been more obvious to play it cross court, plays it into the backhand side of the body for a winner. This is what's going to make Feng Tianwei so difficult to beat. So far, scoreboard says it all. Service warning, Yulia?
I think so.
Didn't catch what it was. We'll see. Now, as you mentioned before, when you get a service warning, and especially when you get a service fault, it can be really distracting to your game. You don't want to have to think about that. So many other things to consider. Feng Tianwei just running Chun around the backcourt right now. Yulia, you retired in 2015, yeah?
Right about that time, yes.
Did you ever play a match against Feng Tianwei?
Yes, I have played. It was during the World Championships in France. I'm not sure if it was 2013, maybe. And I have lost 4-1.
What did you find most difficult about her game? Your facial expression said everything, is that right?
It's good you cannot see it. Well, I started well. The first set was a surprise. I think, if I remember, I won the first set. But then, not so much chance. She just started to play her best.
I see. The Feng Tianwei. Shovel serve coming around the outside of the ball, mixing up her service. For those of you who can't see, which is everybody, Yulia was miming to me the motions of Feng Tianwei's playing.
I'm trying to remember exactly what happened. I'm not sure, but I think it was something to do with her service as well.
So far, it's Chun Soo-yu who has the uphill battle, really looking for some answers here. Feng Tianwei is just so quick with these strokes. Chun Soo-yu has a lot of power, but she needs a little time to set up. Now 8 game points for Feng Tianwei.
She must have studied the match through the video footage from last week.
That's one way to do it. Deep push out to the forehand. Keep Feng Tianwei guessing a little bit. Over the table, Feng Tianwei is too solid. I think, you know, Chun Soo-yu's really going to have to mix it up by throwing in long serves, long pushes from time to time. There it is, nice break of pattern with the inside-out forehand to finish it off. 2 game points saved by the Taiwanese player. There it is, game 1, 11-4. Feng Tianwei in complete control to start off this best-of-7 match. What are you thinking, Yulia?
Well, definitely this first set, we have seen a better prepared Feng Tianwei, and she's absolutely controlling the game. She was basically leading since the beginning, and I'm very curious to see what the coach should advise now Chen Soo-yu, and to see the antidote that she can find against Feng Tianwei.
So as far as big victories, you know, Chun Soo-yu has beaten some big players before. She beat Kasumi Ishikawa last year in the Qatar Open. And a little fun fact about her coach, Lin Xiaohui. So Lin Xiaohui has been coaching just this year after a shoulder injury. She's still on the national team, started playing for the national team around 2008. And when she recovers, she'll get back to playing. But in the meantime, she's staying with the players as a coach. It's pretty interesting. Not too common to hear that, right? Now, Chun Soo-yu was also the under-21 champion in the World Tour Grand Finals in 2014 in Bangkok. So she's still on her way up.
I have interviewed Chen Soo-yu yesterday or the day before that, about the confidence in the Taipei team. And she quite said she was the one confident in the team, and she's the one supporting the entire crew.
Chun Soo-yu?
Chen Soo-yu.
You're saying she's the most confident player on the team? Oh, after all those sky lobs, you were loving it, waiting to see how this point was going to end. Feng Tianwei showing outstanding patience and experience. These balls bounce so high, has to wait for them to come down a little bit. But it can be very difficult when there's side spin on the ball and it's out in front for the lobber to be much of a threat from that far away. Speaking of inside out, beautiful forehand from Feng Tianwei. That's a little bit more her pace.
I think she learned her lesson from last week, so she's controlling the game.
So when you're talking about confidence, so Chun Soo-yu, the most confident player. Chung Yi-ching has been knocked out. Zheng Jian beat her. Oh, again, right down the line. But Chung Yi-ching is the strongest player on the team, but from a confidence standpoint, Chun Soo-yu might have a bit more sort of, confidence, I guess, in her game.
We were talking more about the general state of mind of the team.
Okay.
We were just asking her and her coach about the situation and preparation for the World Championships, and she was the one, I'm the one that gives them confidence and support them.
The coach or Chun Soo-yu?
Chen Soo-yu.
Ah, okay. I can see that. She's got a great personality for sure, definitely a sense of humor. And confidence, of course. I think this is what she's going to have to do. Chun Soo-yu get in early in the point. The short game, the receive game is so important. Christian and I were talking about that, especially with the new balls. For those of you just tuning in, they're using a newer and improved, harder ball from Double Happiness, the D40 Plus. Look at this block, perfect placement. Outstanding timing for playing it down the line. As soon as Feng Tianwei steps around, it leaves open that gaping hole on the forehand side.
Obligating her to turn in the backside with the forehand and then changing the corners. That's a good strategy.
Again, aiming for the middle, finding it just right. Even if Feng Tianwei makes that shot, it's an uncomfortable ball. She's going to be a little bit off balance. What a turnaround here. She's just down 1-5, 3 in a row. High speed play, back and forth. Cannons going off here. Jo Yihan finishing her lunch there while clapping for a minute. Look at the speed of some of these shots. Finally, it's Feng Tianwei's ball. She has a very subtle motion, but still keeps some topspin on it, which makes it accelerate off the bounce. Short side of the table, difficult shot. Feel like I haven't said short side of the table in a long time, despite Feng Tianwei playing that ball right there. Because it's been a while since I've seen it done so cleverly. Little change of pace from Chun Su-Yu, slows it down. I think against some of the top players, they tend to have a rhythm, and especially against some of the top Chinese players, if someone can change the pace on the ball without allowing a high ball that's easy to attack, it can be a bit more effective, breaking the rhythm. So Chun Su-Yu right back in this.
Much closer this set.
No question about it. Already 2 points past her score from game 1. A lot of power on that backhand, and this is the serve we're seeing more and more, where players show, much like Liu Hirano, they show almost like a reverse pendulum, and they come around the outside of the ball sometimes, but contact it in pretty close to the body. Feng Tianwei with a similar serve, but not such a similar third ball. And look who's in the lead. It's Chun Su-Yu. The confidence, the heart of the Chinese Taipei team. Now, there's one player in the women's game I really wanted to talk about, Minami Ando from Japan with the medium pips on the backhand. I saw Feng Tianwei play her yesterday. Feng Tianwei was the first and only player here that could beat Minami Ando.
She was the revelation of the tournament. Also winning the under-21 competition.
Right. So she was definitely the player to watch in women as far as up-and-coming players, who's on the horizon in the land of the rising sun. She beat Mima Ito, actually, at the All Japan, the national championships. Big point here in Chun Su-Yu with 2 game points to even up the playing field. With the third towel break. A lot of sweat coming out of the face of Feng Tianwei right now. Oh, beautiful shot, quick back down the line. She's changing it up so quickly with these short stroke decisions. Going for the long serve to start off the rally too. Bold play, Yulia.
We were talking earlier about long services and surprises. So this is a good tactic, especially at this stage of the set.
Too much power, the finishing backhand punched out wide, and Chun Su-Yu takes game 2. Tied up at 1 game apiece. Feng Tianwei's got her work cut out for her. Inami Ando took one game off Feng Tianwei yesterday, but it was a 4-1 victory for the Singaporean. What are you thinking, Yulia?
Well, after the first set, it was difficult to imagine that Shen Tzu-Yu could have a chance. But as we can see, since the beginning of the second set, she entered into the game and she started to make a lot of points in Feng Tianwei's backhand. If I'm not wrong, she played quite many times there.
I think she's doing, yeah, she's playing well to the wide backhand and into the middle of the body, it seems, and coming through with some power as well.
They are alternating the pace, the length, and also she's playing a lot, changing from middle to the corners, which seems to be not so comfortable for Feng Tianwei.
Right, in the first game, it felt like we didn't really get to see the power or aggression that Chen Tzu-Yu can bring to the table. But this is what's made her so effective this tournament. I mean, we're looking at, remember, 21st seed in the final 4. This is a semifinal match. So there have to be some pretty big upsets for Chen Tzu-Yu to make it this far in the tournament. On paper, it should be the top 4 seeds in the semifinals. She's the 21st seed in blue, tied with the first seed right now.
Table tennis is played at the table and not on the paper, as we can see. So often many changes can occur during a tournament.
It's that unpredictability factor that makes it so exciting to watch. So in case you're curious, Chen Tzu-Yu in the opening round beat Misaki Morizono 4-2. After that, Lee Zeong of Korea 4-1. And yesterday, Choi Ho-ju, the strong left-handed short pips backhand player from Korea. Excellent adjustment from Feng Tianwei.
A lot of spin in the middle.
And it was well placed even by Chen Tzu-Yu into the middle from Feng Tianwei, but Feng Tianwei with a quick turn and a short stroke. Nice change of pace, softer shots earlier on from Chen Tzu-Yu, and when she has a little bit of time, really just powers through. She's playing decisive table tennis right now.
I've noticed many Asian women, they prefer to play backhand.
And in the Europeans?
I think they change more.
Unstoppable, a merciless backhand swatting from way wide. Look at all this defense. She gets everything back on the table. Feng Tianwei hits it inside out, that swatting flamingo backhand, and Feng Tianwei just drops it on the table, Waldner style, for the winner. Chen Tzu-Yu's got it all. We've seen the defense, we've seen the power in near the table, quick pace, very versatile game. The
Seems
point before still. No, Yulia, you go ahead. What were you going to say?
Seems that this is disturbing her, this changing from corner to middle.
Some real fire inside here, Chen Tzu-Yu. And I think that's one thing, you know, we talk about a 9-year-old having too much energy and getting into table tennis. There's actually more to that story. Her teacher is a mother of a table tennis player, and they had an opening on a team and invited her to play. She wasn't even playing table tennis. It was just like, you've got a lot of energy. My daughter's getting started in table tennis. We need another player. That's how Chen Tzu-Yu got dragged into it. You as well?
That's how I started playing table tennis. Okay, before I did gymnastics, but table tennis, it happens more or less like this.
Wow.
But I think it's amazing to be able to play against your idol, your childhood idol, and be able to face it and make it hard for her.
Right, it's, you know, we've seen that from time to time. I think in the Olympics, swimming, Michael Phelps. I think it was a Singaporean as well. Singaporean swimmer who idolized and took a picture with Michael Phelps when he was just a scrawny little child, and then came back in 2016 and was ripped and ready and won the gold, I believe?
Yes, yes.
Amazing story. So Chun Soo-yu trying to do the same here. There's no question she's got the fight, though. I mean, she's been fighting ever since losing game 1, 11-4, comes right back out, and is now in the lead here once again in game 3.
The attitude changed completely from both players from the first set till now.
You gotta love it. And I said, you know, these are both friends of mine. I actually know Feng Tianwei a little bit better. And there's just something exciting about seeing the underdog, you know, upset the world rankings, the world order, mix things up. Just as we talked about earlier, reminds you that anything's possible. But it's really nice to see Feng Tianwei test it out here, and both players playing so well. Beautiful combination right into the body on the backhand side, and as Feng Tianwei starts to move toward the forehand, ball comes right back to the backhand corner behind the momentum. Something you see a lot in tennis. When someone starts to move, you hit it behind them instead of to the wide open space. From the setup, I thought this was Chun Soo-yu's point. Feng Tianwei is quick with those short strokes to really find the angle and put pressure on the opponent.
I think the forehand turn that she decided was not so strong as supposed to, and that's why gave Feng Tianwei the advantage to be able to block it quicker. It's always interesting how you choose the right ball when you're doing backhand. When you choose to turn, you have to be very precise and decided about it.
Right, it's always a risk, that decision. You're leaving open one part of the table. That one just misses the contact. Sort of like you were talking about. Finally gets the ball that she feels she can turn on, but just a little bit late to get the racket up. Not sure if that was the top of the net or the edge, but a little bit of change there in the apology. A little bit of fortune for Feng Tianwei to step into the lead. Is she down 6-8? I think so.
Yes, yes. She recovered 3 points in a row.
Oh, what a fast long serve to the backhand corner. Feng Tianwei was already getting ready to turn. Let's look at this one more time.
I'm not sure if that was by mistake or by accident, but
yeah, probably one of the two.
But pretty cool point.
Indeed, to the very corner of the table. Feng Tianwei leaving skid marks where her shoes left in the backhand corner. Solid opening backhand. Feng Tianwei is getting ready to turn the corner on that. But enough pressure on the spin. And Chun Soo-yu now facing a game point. Fire once again, it's deuce. Chun Soo-yu fights to stay alive. That forehand, that inside-out forehand is so wide and so difficult. It's been successful the last several tries for Feng Tianwei. She's really good at playing the angles. It's not allowing Chun Su-Yu to really get the opening attacks or get into the backhand-to-backhand rally. Ooh, the push stays short and the heavy push attempt finds the net. Feng Tianwei scrapes through to take this game for a 2-1 lead.
At the end, she won with the detail, with the short, unexpected shortcut and unexpected error from Chun Su-Yu. Sometimes you see matches like this. You have long rallies, very beautiful points, and then the match is decided in the end for one no spin service, one short receive, which can be deceiving for the opponent, but it's like this.
Right, I think a lot of players, you know, the majority of the players in the world are not professional, even if they're playing tournaments. There are a lot of players that believe the heavier spin you can hit on the serve, the better. And up to a certain level, yeah, receivers are going to have trouble controlling heavy spin. At this level, sometimes it's more effective to hit a serve with little spin that looks like it has spin, and someone pops it up or dumps it into the net. It's just deceptive. If you can deceive the receiver on your serve, you're going to have a strong advantage for earning yourself a great third ball. And we told you a bit about Chun Su-Yu, who she beat to get here. Feng Tianwei in the opening round beat Saki Shibata, a tough opponent, up-and-comer, very strong in the under-21s for Japan. That was a 4-0 victory for Feng Tianwei. After that, Jun Ji-hee of Korea, very strong win as well. And then after that, Minami Ando, the player we've talked about. Wow, many shots come back here that look like the point would have been over. Chun Su-Yu with the power. She demonstrated this power yesterday. Well, there's a little bit of wince there. It's a positive head nod. It's the moment of frustration. Still early in the game, and again, staying positive. You know, Christian and I talked about the mental state of the players and how much they get caught up on past points or past scores. He said hardly at all. And I guess it depends on each individual, but I do feel that we see some incredible mental focus from most of the players now.
At this level, they're all very focused and they control very well the mind.
It seems like a lot of them are zen, you know, like they have mental coaches, and whether it's meditation or visualization or whatever it is that they're doing, they really know how to leave the past behind and do what it takes to play their strongest game.
I'm sure Chun Su-Yu is not feeling so well after losing the third game, but I think she has the power to recover now.
Right. I mean, this is knowing that you don't have the power to change the past is a really important thing to start your future, right? What a test of agility from both sides, just pounding on the middle, back and forth.
They are both using the same strategy, backhand alternating with middle. As you can watch, and both they're doing the same, basically the same thing.
Seems to be a good recipe in general. That's one way to do it. Get in early. I mean, this is one lesson that I think if anyone, and many people are studying Yu Hirano's game right now, probably especially all the Chinese National Association, she got in so early in the point. Like put, I don't know, 95% priority on the first few shots of the rally. Serve, receive, and then finish the third ball. Chun Su-Yu's quality of serve and third ball there. Started with the serve.
5-2.
Feng Tianwei turning up the pace with that quick backhand stroke.
Mostly in women, the point is decided in the three first balls.
You think more so than men's?
I think so, yeah. Men usually do more rallies. In women, however, there are more points that are played 3 balls.
Even on the run, Feng Tianwei is very keen to keep it placed well. And this is someone who can multitask at the highest level. She's on the move. She knows she needs to reach the ball, and she knows where she wants to hit it to be effective against her opponent. So much blocking skill from Feng Tianwei in that rally, but Chun Soo-yu is the one who prevails. That final shot into the body, forcing Feng Tianwei to come across. At the second towel break of the game, I just would like to tell you that Feng Tianwei started playing at 5 years old, but her first sport was figure skating.
That's a surprise for me.
Yeah, for many. She spent 3 days figure skating, cried every day, and quit. And her mom, who was a hobby player, said, "Hey, what about table tennis?" And as you can imagine, after crying every day over the ice, table tennis seemed like a nice option. And look at her now. She's making paper.
I think she made a good choice changing sports. She's doing it quite well in table tennis.
There is something to be said about doing what makes you happy, right?
And she's actually doing it quite well for a while now.
Yeah, plans to do it quite well for a much longer time, too. Wants to play a lot longer than Li Jiao did. In her Ask a Pro Anything, she said she wants to play. Li Jiao was 42, I think, at the time, maybe 43. And she said, "I want to play longer than Li Jiao." So let's see. So far, she's doing great. Seems healthy and as sharp as ever.
Should be no surprise if she reached that age playing.
Oh, right down the line with the backhand, precision written all over that. Yeah, her game is so efficient. It seems like she really could play for a long time. What about Ni Xiaolian? Think Feng Tianwei will play till she's 53?
You know, we have 2 special cases.
Both in Spain.
One in Spain, one in Luxembourg.
I'm sorry, that's right. You're right. It's because I went on a trip with Ni Xiaolian in Spain. She's in Luxembourg.
And He Zhiwen is the other one,
Juanito.
the male, Juanito.
3 game points for Feng Tianwei.
Together they have more than a century, so, you know, that's not an easy task for a player to reach and play that level with that age.
7-10.
And game point saved. As I go to the third towel break, talking about age, you know, trying to test out the new balls I played with Rossi yesterday. Roskopf, he still has it. I mean, the German standard is so high, he couldn't play, I think, with all the young up-and-coming German players. But for a lot of countries, he could be one of the top 4 right now. Maybe not Romania, just saying.
You had to say that, no? You had
You're
to
from
mention Romania, no?
You're from Romania. Oh, Feng Tianwei right off the bounce with the counterattack. Deserves that Yole and takes the game 3-1 over Chun Soo-yu.
There are some qualities players that even with age, they still got the talent and they are still master of table tennis. And you cannot take that away from them.
But Chun Soo-yu will try with all her might to take that away, as many players have tried. Some choppers have succeeded. But yes, Feng Tianwei still has it for sure. She's so clever too. When we talk about intelligence in sports, table tennis is such a thinker's game. It's got physical, but really the element of surprise creativity. I mean, you have a ball that can spin an infinite amount of ways. There are an infinite amount of axes for the ball to spin on at different speeds. You've got different surfaces on rackets. You've got different strengths and skills. Element of surprise, right? Power, speed, trajectory, so much to consider. And that's why you have someone in your corner talking to you about your tactics between games. For Chun Soo-Yoo, I think she's going to have to mix it up with some long serves, go for power shots. I don't know, what are your thoughts?
I think table tennis is a very complete sport. I think
Agreed.
it was recognized by NASA like the toughest sport, the hardest sport played.
But what I meant was, what do you think about Chun Soo-Yoo's tactics?
Sorry, I was still with the last idea.
No, it's okay. That was a good thought too. NASA, that's great. Who doesn't like space, right? I mean, not from experience, because so few of us have been there, but either way, Chun Soo-Yoo with a good start here in the 5th game. And exactly, she's getting in early in the point, playing aggressive, trying to run Feng Tianwei off the table. If she can play wide to the wings, as long as she doesn't tell or telegraph too much where she's going, Feng Tianwei will be chasing. That's easier said than done. A little bit off the top of the net, but still the power. Ooh, saves that one just barely. It looked like she even had to loosen up the racket as she reached out to the forehand. This one more time. Ooh. Maybe a little bit off the edge there, but right on the white of the line. What a save from Feng Tianwei. Whoa! Fan Zhendong it. Fan Zhendong it. It's the point of the year for 2016. Almost recreated there by Chun Soo-Yoo.
That's the submarine type of ball I was talking about earlier.
That's a submarine torpedo from the best military table tennis player in the world. Not back this time, doesn't creep over. It's the score of 3-1. All the amazing points are happening at 3-1 in the games. Was that 2 bounces on the table for the submarine shot she did? The scooper, the roller.
It looks like that point gave her an extra confidence, and now she's all over the game. Chun Soo-Yoo.
It's funny how a certain shot or two, you know, a point is a point. Christian and I were talking about how Marcos Freitas really grinds and he wins a lot of points that might not be as glamorous, but he takes care of business. He gets the job done. But at the same time, someone can win a point that just changes everything. I think Jonathan Groth hits a behind the back shot when he's losing badly and suddenly everything turns. It happens, you know, it affects the opponent's mentality. They're like, what? How is that possible?
2-7.
There are many players that are using special strategies when they are getting lead by the opponent, and they start getting it out in order to be back in the game.
For example?
Like screaming, or I don't know if you remember before Elena Timina, the defender,
Sure.
played
Coach
for
for Netherlands now.
Yeah, always when it was close, she start screaming after each point. Not screaming.
Oh, back edge of the table for Chun Soo-Yoo. 9-2 lead. Yeah, we do see that, but sometimes, you know, that's a personal thing. You know, I've done the same thing. If I need to motivate myself, it's like I need confidence. Sometimes I have to show and fight, you know, put a little bit more strength into it, push a little harder.
3-9.
It's been a while since we've seen a lobbing point from Chun Soo-Yoo, but she's driven off the table to fish a bit. So yeah, Elena Timina's Not the only one I've seen showing when she starts a comeback, when she's behind.
3-10.
But in this case, the leader in this game, who's trailing in games overall, Chun Soo-yu, showing her way to 10-3 for 7 game points. Beautiful receive, earns that ball, the 4th ball attack. She got in so quickly, decided to take it right off the bounce, and it left Feng Tianwei not a lot of time to react, and the push comes long. This is how it's done.
We have seen a more confident Chun Soo-yu this set, with more initiative and more aggressive. And now it's curious to see the fight back from Feng Tianwei.
Well, I'm definitely curious to see what happens with the legend and her idol. I'm sorry, the other way around. The legend and her biggest fan. There we go. Chun Soo-yu again idolized Feng Tianwei growing up and wanted to play just like her.
Can you understand?
I was trying to listen. I understood backhand.
Well,
Give
we've
it to
seen
her.
backhand. We have seen backhand.
Right. Unfortunately,
game.
the words I understood were the ones that were also mimed and demonstrated with the hands. Give me some time and I'll be able to eavesdrop and translate. But definitely a lot of conversation about the backhand. And I think backhand to backhand, Chun Soo-yu does have, when she times it right, the more powerful backhand. So far, it seems to be working.
You're right. You're right about the backhand.
Fluent in
Listen well.
Chinese, that's it. That's all it takes. Well-placed serve on the forehand side. It's got Feng Tianwei a little bit passive. Not so many players that confident in their forehand flip. I think Patrick Franziska, the most confident we've seen all day with that shot. Outstanding play, both sides. Chun Soo-yu's gotten that ball back on the table a few times. But watching her cover the middle when Feng Tianwei, as soon as Feng Tianwei gets the step around forehands in, feels like the point's done. And finally, with that inside-out bending forehand, that is what finishes the point. Oh, after that forehand flip and playing the corners, not able to take the point. That's, you know, Feng Tianwei with that big chole, that's a chole of somebody who knows that she was in trouble but managed to take the point.
It's a cat fight right now.
It's like a lion's fight to me. I guess part of the cat family. Big aggressive cats.
Time out.
Time out here for Chun Soo-yu. Wow, interesting stuff. You know, a lot of players come from table tennis families. The parents were either hobby players before. Again, Chun Soo-yu, the only player in her family. Feng Tianwei, only child in her family, born during the Chinese single-child policy. But a lot of players have older siblings that motivate them. You know, the champions. I'm sure you've seen that before, right?
Those champions? I'm not.
Table tennis champions in general, a lot of the best players in the world have older siblings, brothers or sisters that played before them so that they always wanted to be as good as their older brother or sister.
Or including parents.
And sometimes parents as well. Dmitry Ovcharov still being coached by his father, Michael. It's where he learned all his serves, those signature serves. Dima gets them from his dad.
It's from the Eastern Europe side, you know, those kind of service. We do that also in Romania.
Nice. Yeah, it's interesting how serves vary by region, you know, by geography.
Although right now I think it's more global than before.
What?
The entire table tennis culture.
Oh, for sure. I was just saying how serves differ.
And also the styles. Before it was like something typical for regions. Now it gets a little bit more global.
I think a lot of people see a winning recipe. You know, you've got a team like China dominating the sport for so long. I mean, look at the Japanese team. They know who to hire. They're going to hire Chinese coaches and people to bring in some secrets and work hard to even the score a little bit.
Exactly, and there are many associations that send their representative training in other countries, not only in China, also in other countries that are top in the world ranking.
I was thinking about that the other day, speaking Chinese with a Korean player. I mean, so many of these players are training in China and have Chinese coaches, and I think it's proving to be strong for them, you know? In Egypt, Dina Meshref and Omar Assar going to Egypt. They go into Egypt to come home from China.
Just sometimes, no?
Yeah, they sometimes show up in Egypt.
2-6.
Feng Tianwei with that big inside-out forehand has really turned things around. And she was down at the start of this game. Look at the score now. There's just so much pressure. Feng Tianwei is everywhere she needs to be. A long push wide to the forehand. She's 30 years old and she's moving like she's 16.
There's nothing wrong with being 30.
Psh, I remember that. No problem. Preaching to the choir.
7-3.
Simply a compliment about how fast Feng Tianwei's feet are. I mean, with the power, you know, Chun played the point before so well. Surprise receive, ball to the opposite corner, but it wasn't enough to open up an easy ball.
8-3.
Top seed in solid form right now.
But physically, Feng Tianwei is very well. She's doing quite well. And sometimes with age, you get more experience.
I would say most of the time.
8-3.
It's a trend that normally Asian players, they quit around 30. They start very young and then they quit. And we always wondered why, at least in Europe, because in Europe, many is when they have their best shape.
Well, I think we talked about it earlier, and with 7 match points here, I'll try to quickly explain. But I think in the countries, the strongest Asian countries, I mean, there's so much competition. They're always younger and better on their way up.
10-4.
You know, to be on the Chinese national team and be over 30, it's almost unheard of. It's very rare. Same with Japan. It's quite rare. And they also start younger, right? It's more taxing on the body. Not yet 2 match points saved by Chun Soo-yu. Fans in Taiwan watching and cheering for Chun Soo-yu. Incredible points. Just incredible. You thought for sure this was going to finish the match. Chun Soo-yu just hanging on by her nails here, digging in, will not give up.
Let's see if that can change the way, the trajectory of the match.
The trajectory, yeah, sure. Could do that. Just missing the back edge, and what a point to finish it on. Incredible play from both players. Feng Tianwei still trying to catch her breath before that handshake. And this is the type of match that leaves players hugging, high-fiving, and saying, you played an incredible match. And what a match it was. There's the score. Check it out and stick around. We've got 3 more matches, the semifinals for the rest of the day, men's and women's. Yulia has to run back down to take care of ITTF business. But I'll be right here with you. You're watching the 2017 Seamaster Korea Open.
Don't leave, I'm coming back.
Thanks, Julia.